Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to take you on a journey through my life as an INFJ, one of the rarest personality types out there. You know, the ones who are often described as the advocates or the counselors. So grab a cozy drink, settle in, and let's dive into the ups and downs of being an INFJ. Growing up, I always felt a little different. I remember being the kid who would sit alone on the playground, not because I didn't want to play, but because I was lost in my thoughts. My imagination was my best friend, crafting entire worlds where I could explore my deep feelings and ideas. As a little INFJ, I often struggled to fit in. I was sensitive to the emotions of those around me, sometimes even more than I was to my own feelings. I recall a day in the third grade when a classmate was upset. I felt this overwhelming urge to comfort her, even though I barely knew her. It was like I could feel her sadness wrapping around me, and all I wanted to do was help. Fast forward to my teenage years. By then, I had learned to navigate social situations a bit better, but it was still a challenge. I craved deep connections, but most of my peers were caught up in surface-level conversations about pop culture and trends. I often found myself sitting with a book instead of mingling at parties, feeling out of place yet yearning for meaningful interactions. One day, during a particularly dull lunch, I decided to open up about my favorite book. To my surprise, a few classmates began to engage. We started discussing themes and characters, and for the first time, I felt like I was truly connecting with others. That moment taught me the value of vulnerability and how it can create bridges between people. When it comes to romantic relationships, being an INFJ is a roller coaster ride. We tend to idealize our partners and often set the bar incredibly high. I remember falling for someone who seemed perfect on paper, kind, intelligent, and funny. But I soon realized that I was investing more into the relationship than he was. It was heartbreaking. I spent nights wondering what I did wrong, feeling like I had failed in some way. But through that experience, I learned an invaluable lesson. It's okay to prioritize my needs and not lose myself in someone else. INFJs have a tendency to give so much of themselves, but we need to remember that self-love is just as important. Speaking of self-love, let's talk about boundaries. As an INFJ, I often feel responsible for the emotions of others. This can lead to a lot of emotional exhaustion. I recall a time when a close friend was going through a rough patch. I wanted to be there for her, but I quickly found myself overwhelmed by her pain. I realized that while empathy is a strength, it can also be a double-edged sword. So I started practicing setting boundaries. It wasn't easy at first. I felt guilty for wanting to take time for myself. But as I learned to communicate my needs, I discovered that healthy relationships thrive on balance, and my friend respected me even more for it. In terms of lifestyle, INFJs thrive in environments that allow for introspection and creativity. I've always been drawn to activities that nurture my soul, like writing, painting, or even just taking long walks in nature. I find that these moments of solitude recharge my energy and help me process the world around me. I remember a weekend where I decided to unplug from social media and spend time in the park. I brought my journal along and ended up writing for hours, pouring my thoughts onto the pages. It was liberating. It's during these solitary moments that I get the clearest insights about myself and the world. Now, let's touch on some practical, psychological insights for fellow INFJs and those who love us. First off, don't be afraid to embrace your unique perspective. It's easy to feel like an outsider, especially in a world that often values extroversion. Your sensitivity and intuition are gifts that can lead to profound connections and insights. Secondly, practice self-care. Make it a priority to recharge your emotional batteries. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, or immersing yourself in a good book, find what works for you. Remember, it's not selfish to take time for yourself. Lastly, seek out like-minded individuals. Join groups or communities that resonate with your interests. You'll find that there are others out there who understand your struggles and triumphs. So there you have it, a glimpse into the life of an INFJ. It's a journey filled with challenges, but also with beauty and connection. If you relate to any of this, or if you have your own stories to share, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your experiences. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories and insights. Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep shining your unique light into the world.